This is usually in an outline for me. It's going to be 3 pages. And this is a really fleshed out outline. 3 pages per thing. So you come up with like 27 pages. And I kind of drill down that way. It doesn't always work. It's what works for me. And it's more successful than anything else I've ever tried. The other thing to remember is these parts are going to be your big moments. So the beginning of the beginning, the middle of the middle, and the end of the end. Add extra force, sugar, love, care, intensity, prowess, courage, strength, vitality. All you're definitely, those are your accent points. So you want to make sure you're right. You're building and cresting and all that good stuff. You're welcome. And it's more detailed on johnaugust.com. You can see more about that.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm kind of a newbie writer, and I'm trying to do all the checkpoints that I should in order to prepare before I sit down to write. So I've got all my bios for all my major characters, all my plot points, kind of my own wacky way of an outline. And then I sit down to write, and I'm like, okay, I didn't quite flesh out this part of the character flaw. Let's introduce a new character to solve this. And it's like playing the Chuck E. Cheese game where you bash down, you know what I mean? Because I have all of these characters that they have no real meaning in the script other than to solve something for my hero, and it's not working for me because it's just there's too many people ending up on my bio, on my character sheet. Have you ever had that problem? And
it's a common newbie writer problem. It's like one of the most common ones. How to solve? You're not. You're the solve is always inside, never outside. So the second you're bringing a new character, it's like no. Don't allow yourself that luxury. You just have to figure if I'm hearing you correctly, and if I'm hearing you correctly, you're trying to address the flaw in a character and show that. You need to figure out ways to show that, like maybe trying some of this stuff. You need to figure out ways to show those flaws without bringing in somebody else. And your action description is going to be and your parens will be very valuable tools for you in terms of very muscularly, efficiently doing that. But challenge yourself to think of a list of 30 things that your character does that give a lot of emotional information. Just ticks, stuff that you can write. Just challenge yourself to just brainstorm. Okay, what would he do in this situation? What would he do in this situation? What if? And try and get into the mind of what the character would do without independent of, yeah. See what you come up with.
I came out to my car the other morning and I had a ticket and I was like, I'm not parked on the wrong side of the street. I got all grumpy. And I called and I said, I have anxiety, there's something wrong with my ticket. And I was looking down at the ticket and I realized that somebody with the exact same car as me had gotten a ticket several streets away and just put it on my car. And I saw a white Ford Explorer, so I was like, oh, I'll pay the ticket. And I just thought, what a great character beat if you just saw a person take the ticket off their car, drive over to a car that looked like their car, pop the ticket back on the other car. That doesn't involve other characters, but that tells you everything you need to know about that person. Who the hell would do that? I was so angry, and I was so impressed. Oh, I love you. You evil, evil genius. I was very into it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was just like
that's A+.
Well,
life will always give you the better stuff.
And that is not in a movie if you want to go ahead and use that. You can have that.
Awesome.
Question. Oh, microphone. Oh, question over there first.
So we're talking about the writing, but now we have the part about the selling. So what advice would you give about the hand-holding that you need when you're pitching, when you're meeting people, when you're having to give your log line and talk about your stuff?
Oh, it's so hard. It's so hard. It's the awful, it's just awful. I hated doing it. I still hate it. Just because you're good in a room doesn't mean, just because you're good on the page doesn't mean you're good in the room. People who are good in the room aren't good on the page. It's such an unfair thing. What is some good hand-holding? Did I ever say anything? I'm so bad. Did I ever say anything smart about this? About the pitching or the studio thing? First of all, they can smell desperation. So you have to know that you have worth as a person and a writer and a human being outside of this business. First of all, you can never need it. They can smell it when you need it, and they prefer it when you act like you don't need them. Not in a mean way, but just that you don't need the job. And so, just like actors, you can't kind of fall apart or be too. Now, I always like enthusiasm. I always think when all else fails, just be enthusiastic. And hopefully if you love your project enough, you can just be genuinely enthusiastic. That's works for me. That doesn't work for everybody.
And Jessica also did something with, I believe, both Bring It On and Stick It, which was that, and this I think worked very well for what her specific projects were. They might not be what your kind of projects are, but she put together visual stuff. Like she put together a trailer for her movie before it ever existed, and she cut together footage of like awesome gymnastics footage just to get people excited about it. And that actually, I mean, I think pitching is so insanely hard, and nothing ever sells, and it's impossible. And John August, I spoke to today, told me he went out with something with Ron Howard, like Brian Grazer and John August, and everyone was like, I don't think so. not too interested in that dream team. Thanks for playing. Like, what? So just no, like the answer was no all over, just nothing, you know. And it's like, John August, what? So pitching is very, very hard, and anything you can do to sort of put it above whatever the next is. I mean, I did a pitch, and I vowed I'd never do another pitch because the pitching experience was so awful, and it's such a dog and pony show, and the sweat and and then it's like pass, you know, every day you're just waiting. And it's like, yeah, another pass. And it's just so awful. So the next time I did a pitch, I said, I'm not doing it without a star attached, because I don't believe that I'm worth, I mean, they don't see me as being enough of a commodity to buy and to believe that I'm going to write this in the best possible way. So I'm going to go get a star. And I went and got a star. And, you know, what? How'd you do that? Oh, well, it's very hard, and it takes a long time. But
how long?
I waited. I call it FPT, famous people time. And so I waited for like probably, I pitched it to their company, to the Stars company, and the first person liked it. And it was like, well, all right, they like it. And then I had to pitch to the next person who's on the ladder. So I pitched to the next person. It was like, meh, I kind of like that. Okay. And then it was like, okay, we're going to talk to Adam Sandler. That's who it was. And 4 months later, I found out that Adam Sandler liked it and wanted to do it. But it was 4 months of me just sitting there going like, please God, end my pain. Just tell me what the answer is. I don't even care if it's no anymore. Yeah. I just want to take a nap, you know? Like, I'm so tired. I can't wait anymore. So that's, I mean, and it was very hard. You know, I had to pitch it like 17,000 times to every single person who works with Adam Sandler, and sweaty every time.
Do your dum-dum demographics too? Know the movies that were successful in the genre. Know what your audience is digging these days. If you have something cool to show, make sure, if it's really cool, you know, absolutely pop in a tape. Show short. You know, it should not be over a minute or two. But if you have something to show that helps make your point, or is like really lovable, or sells it better than you can, use that. I'm all for props. I'm all about Carrot topping up your your pitch. Yeah, I use Carrot Top. Yeah, I'll reference him. Just throw that down. I have no shame about that.
That's what the kids are paying attention to these days.
They do. So just make sure you have that information. The studios love markets. They love information about markets. So, like, you know, the studio is interested in the fact that there are 1.4 million recreational gymnasts in the United States. They were interested in the fact that when Carly Patterson won gold in Athens, that was a higher share than the Super Bowl. No, higher share than Monday Night Football, like several Monday Night Football nights. So I got Nielsen ratings. I got, you know, and it's easier with the world, obviously, because you can get specific. It's harder, I know, with the genres, but you just have as much information as you can for their cover your ass minds. They want the cover your ass things they can say to help justify the purchase.
Yeah, thanks. I would say that the doors that have opened so far with being an author and a screenwriter, I mean, I haven't sold anything yet, but the doors I've gotten through have been when I've been, like you said, kind of laid back, cool. Like, I don't really need it. I have this really, really great idea. It's fantastic. I love it. You'll love it. And that seems to really, people go, really? I want to see this. What's this about? And I work in entertainment, so I do have a more opportunity to run into people.
Yeah. It works. I mean, you know, they all want the club they don't belong to, so you have to kind of act like you're that club. So if you can, you know.
Exactly.
It's weird.
And Jessica, I don't know whether you can comment on this or not, but going to your idea of like acting sort of too cool for school, I've found that almost the less information I seem to give, the better I do. Like if I'm just kind of like, it's really cool, I'll tell you about it later. Like, you know, second act is going to be awesome. You know, it's just the less you sort of do. I mean, you have to have like 3 great scenes that they can pitch to the next person and be able to explain the concept really well. But other than that, they're going to pitch it to their boss in 2.5 minutes or a minute, you know. So my 15 minutes is going to turn into a minute. So just make sure there's enough stuff in there that they can repitch it as like, oh, there's this hilarious scene where da-da-da-da happens. And then you're done.